brothers and sisters, some of them progressive, some centrist, some conservative. I think there is a streak of bitterness that cuts across American society as a whole. And certainly there's something to those persons who are experiencing social slippage, downward mobility, and one's tendency to want to scapegoat the most vulnerable rather than confront the most powerful. And when you scapegoat the most vulnerable, you do in fact end up saying nasty things about new immigrants, saying nasty things about black folk, nasty things about Jews, the typical scapegoats in American society, nasty things about women or gays and lesbians and so on. So actually in that sense, Brother Barack Obama had a point, but you can never just talk about one group as if they are monolithic or homogeneous.
I want to talk about...
Not only that, but let me make this point too in terms of not rendering invisible other people's suffering. You take, for example, our speech that Brother Barack Obama gave when he talked about slavery as an original sin, as opposed to the treatment of indigenous peoples and their subjugation, dispossession of their land, and near extermination of their peoples. We must never use black suffering as a way of rendering blind the suffering of indigenous peoples or red peoples. Same is true with white suffering. The white poor people are suffering, and that suffering is real. The question is, how do you highlight the suffering in such a way that we can come together and fight the powers that be, especially the elites who rule us at the moment?
I want to talk about some of your other work right now. You have collaborated with the rap artist Malik Yusuf, and we have an email here about that from Fred in California in the United States. And Fred wants to know, how has hip-hop contributed to American culture? This is not specifically on rap. Do you think its popularization has brought black and white Americans together, or has it just dumbed down what was a socially conscious art form?
Well, it depends on what kind of hip-hop you're talking about. You know, you got Lupe Fiasco, you got Raw Digger, you've got Common, you've got Kanye West, you've got KRS-One. These are all progressive hip-hop artists. But then on the other hand, you've got hip-hop artists who are deeply misogynist, women degrading, women hating, homophobic, degrading of gay brothers and lesbian sisters, hedonistic and materialistic, obsessed with bling bling, G-string, instant gratification, bodily stimulation. Well, these are not spiritually healthy modes of being in the world. To that degree, it's just dumbing down. Now, it's a reflection of American culture as a whole, but again, you've got progressive hip-hop and you've got deeply, deeply regressive hip-hop. As an art form, of course, it's probably the most important cultural force on the globe. You know, they got the hip-hop in Slovakia, they got hip-hop in Brazil, they got hip-hop in Taiwan. It's an international phenomenon of youth culture. Again, a reflection of the genius of young black people, beginning in the belly of the American empire, but generating new possibilities, yearning for hope, yearning for some kind of humane treatment, and yet themselves reproducing some of the very systems of domination within their music that they were resisting in the first place.
Now, as I'd mentioned, you had done some work with the rap artist Malik Yusuf. What form did that collaboration take?
Well, we did a single with Brother Rhyme Fest and Neo Abyss called Welcome to the Shy. But this was a CD that I did called Never Forget with Prince, late great Gerald Levert, Jill Scott, Lenny Williams, Talib Kweli, Black Thought of the Roots. It was a magnificent coming together, and what I was trying to do is, as a deep Democrat and as a freedom fighter, I want to present a danceable education to the younger generation so they make the shift from bling bling and G-string to truth and justice, keep alive the rich legacy of not just Curtis Mayfield but Bob Marley, keep alive the rich legacy of those freedom fighters who use music as a way of making us more aware and alert to suffering to others, and muster the courage to do something about it. Most importantly, be willing to sacrifice, be willing to pay a cost.
We have another email here. This is from Mehmet in Illinois in the United States. And he's also writing about Barack Obama. And he says, if Barack Obama becomes president, how will he win over the millions of Muslims who've been offended by the way he disassociated himself from Islam? Many Muslims fear that he will be overly harsh in order to prove that he is not Muslim.
Well, I mean, one, let me just say this, that I'm fighting for Barack Obama to gain access to the White House. The moment he wins, I will dance in the morning, I'll break dance in the afternoon, but I'll be his major critic the next morning, because he has to be rendered accountable as President of the United States. And if, in fact, he makes any move, any xenophobic moves toward downplaying the humanity of Muslims or Islamic brothers and sisters, he must be criticized like any other president. I don't think he will, though, but most importantly, I think Islamic brothers and sisters would rather see sermons than hear them, which is to say it's a matter of example. If you treat Islamic brothers and sisters in a humane way, which gives them the benefit of being wrong as well as right, but based on principle, not based on this ugly kind of Islamophobia, this downplaying or hatred of Islam, as if Islam is some monolithic tradition and doesn't have rich prophetic possibilities, very much like my own Christianity, very much like Judaism, very much like Buddhism. All of these religions have histories of domination and bigotry, and they have histories of breakthrough regarding truth and justice. If he accents the prophetic possibility of Islam, I think he can do a wonderful job.
You know, Barack Obama has said that he has taken race out of the equation when he runs for president in his campaigns. He said he's taken that out. Do you think he's succeeded?
No such thing as taking race out of the equation. No such thing. You think you're going to have 400 years of white supremacy, slavery, Jim Crow, lynching, and so forth, another 40 years of discrimination, covert as well as overt, and one presidential campaign is going to take race out of the equation? No way.
Dr. West, we're going to have to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you so very much. Stay strong.
Thank you. And thank you for being with us. On the next show, we look at how organized crime impacts the global economy. See you next time.